Hi everybody, my name is Mark Everett and welcome back to the Block Factory. Now in this video what I'm going to do is demonstrate how to add to the cabinet section pulls that occur in the vertical sections category of the Block Factory. Now I previously made a video for updating or adding to the cabinet pulls that occur in the cabinet blocks category, but I figured I'd just go ahead and add another video in just to explain how to update these also. So with that being said, let's jump into AutoCAD. Okay, in this video what I'm going to do is demonstrate how to update or add to these cabinet section pulls. And as I said, I've created one for the cabinet blocks portion of the category of the Block Factory, but I felt like if I didn't do one here, somebody might have a question, so I figured I'd just go ahead and just do a demonstration showing that. So this is a Doug Mockett pull that I have used before on another project, and I actually grabbed this from my cabinet pulls portion of the Block Factory. As you can see, all the different pulls that I have in here have some other catches and clips and everything, but this is where I actually create the block and save it here. So in the future, let me get out of this area, go back to my demo drawing, and I made that block both elevation, side elevation, and the end elevation. Now sometimes I'll do this as a section cutting through it, but anyway, you create that as a block, give it 3 visibilities, and go ahead and save it in an area of your files that you can go back to later on. And that way you have the pull 100% drawn. Now with that, you would take this cabinet section portion of it. Now, granted, they're all the same block, but you're going to take this view and add them to this particular block. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this from that base point right there, and I'm going to add that to this pull. Now this is a Doug Mockett DP128 pull. So I'm going to open the block and go to the visibility, double click on it, bring this dialog box up and add new, and then put in Doug Mockett DP128. And we're going to have a vertical and a horizontal because sometimes the pull is horizontal. So we'll say, in this case here, vertical. And then we'll go ahead and add a Doug Mockett horizontal. And hit OK. Now I'm going to double click or go back to the vertical. This is the very first default pull that shows up, and hit OK. Now I'll go over here to my ribbon and go to blocks and go to my vertical pull. And I'm going to, now that I'm in the vertical pull, this one still shows up because that's where I started from, but I'm going to make it invisible here in a moment. So I'm going to place this pull here, right there, select the default pull that shows up from when I started, and just make it invisible. I don't want to erase it. I just want to make it invisible. And then I want to apply, and we can get rid of this one here for the moment. I'll insert it back in. So now what I want to do is apply the action, the move action here. So I'm going to hit modify, not new. I want to keep the actions for all the rest of them okay, but this one I just want to modify it. So now I have that, and I want to save. Now what I want to do is go to the Doug Mockett horizontal, and then again paste. And I'll go ahead and just paste this right here, but I'm going to move this one here over to that location and get rid of the vertical pull. And excuse me, let me get rid of the vertical pull because I don't need that one. I have the horizontal, but this one I'm going to make invisible. Now just to explain, let me undo here. I pasted in that other vertical pull and the horizontal pull, so I'm not getting rid of the one I just added. I'm getting rid of the one, excuse me, I'm getting the one that I just pasted in, not the one that I did. So if I go back one step to the vertical, it's still there, and I just want to make sure you understood that. So now I'm going to make this one invisible. So I'm going to go over here to the tool palette and make this invisible. So now this one shows up. Let's add or modify, excuse me, that action to it and then save that also. Now what I want to do is go back to the vertical pull one last time and save. Sometimes these can be finicky and they don't show up the first time you do them. So now that I've saved, I'm going to close and save that block. Now, if everything goes well, this should have both the vertical pull and the horizontal pull in them. And I'm going to do that same exact thing. So now that I've got it added, I just take it back to the default pull. I'm going to do the same exact thing here. I'm going to open the block. I'm going to paste that pull in. Now, this pull is used for all the wall cabinets, so that's why this pull is essentially upside down. So what I'm going to do is just mirror this pull here over from the center point and mirror it up. Okay. Actually, you know what? I did this. Let's move this over. Let's go back a step here because I want to make sure you understand how to do this. Before you add any pulls or paste any pulls, let's go ahead and go to the visibility and add the 2 new pulls in here. So let's go new, Doug Mockett DP128 vertical. Do the same thing for the Doug Mockett DP128 horizontal. And now that they're added, I'll go back to the default. Okay, now go to my tool palette and go to my DP128 vertical. Now I will paste that block in here. And because I don't need this particular pull here, I can erase that until I do the horizontal version. So now let's take this and mirror that right there. Again, I'm going to make this invisible. So I go to my tool palette and make it invisible. And then I'm going to add the action by modifying this. Okay, now that's there. So now let's go to the tool palette and select the horizontal and add the pull in there again. I'm just using that insertion point to get me aligned with that center point of the pull. Again, make this invisible. And now I can select modify. Now I should have saved, so I'm going to save this. I'm going to go back to the vertical and save. It should work even if I just save the block in general, but for some reason, if I don't do this process this way, these dynamic blocks sometimes just don't always accept it. So anyway, I saved it. I'm going to exit out of the block and save one last time. If all goes well, this should be added to. You got a vertical pull and a horizontal pull. So it looks like we were successful in adding that block in there. So again, if you're going to add a pull, create the pull, give the visibilities to it that you have, so that way you have everything covered. Then bring that block into the sections block, make these changes. Now, once you've made these changes, you will have to take that pull and with a saved drawing added to the tool palette somewhere, and I have a section of my hardware tab noted here so that I can place these on. So I would eliminate them from here and drag new ones on. Then when I go to the cabinet sections, groups of blocks, categories of blocks in the block factory, I can redefine them by just right-clicking on and hit redefine, and that will redefine any of the cabinet sections that include these cabinet sections. So that's critical. Now, the one thing you'll see here is a wipeout. In the final set, what I'm going to do is I have to add in a YouTube video for this, but anyway, I'm making a video right now, so it doesn't really matter, but I'm going to add that to this particular area of the block factory, so that way if you ever need to go back and reference it, you can go to that YouTube video. The one that's here right now is for the cabinet elevation block, and it will work, but this one is specific for the cabinet sections. So I hope you liked the video, and I'll see you on the next one.